Hey guys, Simplexity here. Today I'm going to show you how to duel a warrior, or beat him 1v1. It's actually not so bad. So we need to be aware of a few cooldowns here. There's Charge, which is a 12 or 13 second cooldown. Berserker Rage, which is a 30 second cooldown, has a 10 second duration. Throwdown, which is their stun, which you should trinket, is a 45 second cooldown. And Heroic Leap is a 1 minute cooldown. Make sure you know what the Berserker Rage buff and even Recklessness buff looks like. So the general strategy for this duel is a few things. You want to make sure you only trinket Throwdown. You want to kite as much as possible and take advantage of that he only has one real reliable gap closer, which is Charge. So kite with Soulburn, Port, Shadow Flame, and Exhaustion if you need to. You also want to force Berserker Rage and then actually fear him, and you can do that to get a cast off with Death Coil. And finally, just refresh UA with Fell Flame, as with most melee. So here I'm just going to let you watch the duel in real time, and then I'll comment after. Alright, so here's the replay. So as you can see, I'll have Soulburn up actually as the duel starts, and I try to get a dot off before he can charge. The reason I like using Soulburn before is just maybe it might be up later in the duel. So I'm ready to port, and I do, but here I actually fuck up. As you can see, I have the hamstring debuff when I still port, and that's not actually the slow, but it's the hamstring root, which roots me for like 4 seconds, I think. So that procs when they first hamstring, and it procs like every 30 seconds. So watch out for that. It messed up my kiting quite a bit. So I howl him off just to get him off me after heroic leaps, and then I'll Shadow Flame to slow him, and then I get a UA off, and then I'm lucky I could still kite a little bit because I had like 1 second left on my sprint buff. Getting that UA off is pretty important. Some warriors are quick enough to Berserker Rage and kick, but this guy wasn't. So he charges me now, and I don't have port up, so the question is, how do I get away from him? And so I'm going to Death Coil him, and I first refreshed UA with Fell Flame, so take note of that, and then I would have Death Coiled him a little earlier, but I got Nightfall proc, so I used that too. And then after I Death Coil him, and he doesn't have Berserker Rage, so I go for a Fear. However, he actually trinketed this Death Coil and started Blade Storming, so that kind of messed me up there. I really don't see that often, but yeah, it was a good way to avoid that. But I took advantage of his Blade Storm, just got a haunt off. I got some distance, and he was pretty much finished by then. Now this guy wasn't very good, so I'm gonna go over one more duel on for a better warrior. This guy was only half bloodthirsty, half vicious. Alright, so here's footage of the second duel. I actually played with this guy on the TR, so being on the TR, we both have full vicious tier 2 weapons, so gear's equal. He's pretty good. He's 2600 on live, he said, at warrior. So now I'm gonna add some commentary. This one was pretty close. So in the opener, he charges me before I get a dot off, but that's okay, it's not a huge deal, but yeah. I wait a second to make sure I'm not rooted by improved hamstring, and then I'll soulburn port. I probably should have Shadow Flame before though. So I get away, I start kiting, he heroic leaps over, and I get some distance. I still have distance because of the speed buff, and I go for a fear here. Now, he blade storms out of it, or he blade storms the fear, so he doesn't get feared, so I probably should have casted UA instead. But he is blade storming almost nothing. And since I don't have UA or Haunt up, I use that time to get both those dots up. So I Shadow Flame kite him here, and a little carried by a Worgen Sprint too. Um, and then I force his charge, which is important. So I run away since port's not up. I keep kiting, and he throwdowns me, which I trinket kind of late, like a second late. And I howl him off to get his Berserker Rage. Now this is important. So I get his Berserker Rage. He starts popping his health regeneration cooldowns. Again, Rage Regen, Rallying Cry. And even though I have port, I don't want to use it. I want to... Well, here's pretty much the key part of the match. I wait till Berserker Rage is almost over, and then I'll Death Coil him, and I go for a Fear, but he's going to Trinket it and charge me. And this is why I'm glad I saved port. I just port away, can't get back on me, has no charge, and instead of finishing him off with damage, I'm going to go for a Fear to kind of just, for security. Recast UA, Haunt, Drain Life, and he's going to die. So thanks for watching, guys. Next up I'll be doing Death Knight 1v1 against Frost. So I'll try to have that out by this weekend. Hopefully you learned some information about kiting and you can apply it to BGs and arenas.